My name is Arjuna, and today's presentation is titled Awakening to Love Through Circle Work. Much of my recent learning has come from developing and facilitating group work done by meeting in circles. In circle work, I've learned an immense amount about love and caring for my fellow beings, as well as for myself. I've learned about the need for clear boundaries and structure, as well as for developing oneself as a vehicle for love itself. This presentation is an attempt to share something of where I see the positive potentials within circle work. The essence of this presentation will be on how we can meet in a circle for personal and spiritual development, mostly looking at philosophy, practical structures, and notes for a facilitator. This presentation will necessarily be but a brief introduction to circle work, and much more information and support is available if you feel called to be part of this kind of work. The bulk of this presentation is about how to set up and facilitate a circle, but before I begin, I would like to briefly share some personal experiences of meeting in different circles. Some personal experience. As I reflect on it, I see how I have had many experiences of being in circles throughout my life. Not in formal schooling, where we all sat in rows with one person at the front of the room, but in many communal gatherings, in many different situations since. Way back in kindergarten, at story time, we gathered in a circle around the teacher. As a teenager, I used to meet with others at a local nature reserve. We naturally formed a circle, leaning on our bikes as we shared about our interests in life. Later, as an adult, I sat in circles in psychological group therapy sessions, personal development courses, and in general travels. Meeting up with strangers was often done by forming a circle. Through 4 years attending drama classes, circle was the perfect way for everyone to be able to hear each other's insights and ideas. Also at the end of Aikido, martial arts classes, the sensei would get us to sit in a small circle and listen to readings from the founder. These texts were often brief and about how Morihei Ueshiba realized the true nature of his path, that the essence of the martial arts practice was about love. From my early travels, one special memory presents of a cold morning when I was camping. I settled in for the night in a thin one-person tent. The temperature was close to 0 and I couldn't sleep. I finally decided to rug up and go for a walk instead of simply resisting the cold anymore. I had no idea of what time it was, but it was still dark as I ventured out from my tent. As I walked about in nature, I could see a group in the distance sitting on the ground in a circle. Many of the group were dressed in orange clothing and were chanting mantras. As I approached, I was invited to join in. I closed my eyes, singing along where I could, and enjoying the sense of unity and harmony I felt in that. In the beauty of the moment, I heard someone begin to play violin in a way that I had never heard before. The music and the chanting had such a powerful effect on me. I felt lifted out of my body and into pure spirit. I had never felt such upliftment before. I surrendered into the heavenly space, and after about half an hour of chanting and bliss, the sun appeared on the horizon. Without words, the group dispersed, and I was left feeling the enormous blessing of being part of this magical circle. Many years later, when my first wife died, I heard of a sun-moon dance being offered near where I lived. People came all the way from America to run it, and it felt like a special opportunity to surrender to some caring and Native American ritual. Perhaps 18 of us entered the open-air enclosure on the first night and took our place on the perimeter of the circle for the next 3 days. We each had a small area to lay down or sit upright. There was no speaking at all, but for 3 days we either danced into and out from the central pole or rested. During the dance I had visions and was visited by my recently deceased partner. I also felt enormous love and support from the organisers, as well as from spirit. This circle work was profoundly helpful in my hour of need. Philosophy. By gathering together in circles, we meet, share in some way, and grow. We learn how best to respect, care, and support each other as we share what is personally most important to us as individuals. Based on ancient ways of meeting and adapted to modern times, we gather in an environment of mutual respect, care, and generosity of spirit. Creating a space of non-judgment, we listen, share, and be heard, where every participant is given an equal opportunity. Meeting in this, the way of counsel, we can get more clear about what issues lay hidden beneath our semi-conscious minds and what choices we feel to make in moving forward. Realising that each of us face challenges and difficult times, growing in character as we support one another on our unique and often demanding pathways. Speaking with honesty, finding comfort and trust in allowing vulnerability, gaining strength and giving our best for the common good. We begin to feel what needs to be felt. Managing discomfort as we learn to welcome change. Finding strength in transition as we each become more whole. In respecting, caring, and supporting each other, we explore what is essential and most dear to each participant. In serving individual needs, we also advance the development and evolution of our broader communities. From my perspective, the main reasons for meeting in a circle is to create a space for love. Through engendering respect, kindness, caring, consideration, empathy, and compassion. The state of love exists naturally, And as we sit in a circle and share our personal truths, we begin to open to the higher qualities inherent in being spirit, in human form, in just being, relaxing and opening to our uniquely individual truths. By meeting in circles, we work within a structure that gives everybody an equal opportunity to share, to be listened to be heard and cared for. As we open more and more to the positive potentials of this work, the circle itself becomes a sacred space, a place where you get to experience more of your true self in a safe and supportive group environment. Practical structures. Welcome. For me, meeting in a circle helps to satisfy a lifelong need to feel that I belong to humanity, I belong to myself, and I belong to life itself. There is something about sitting in a circle that supports a heartfelt sense of belonging. So if you were attending a circle, what might be your hopes? To feel support? To feel cared for? To feel harmony? To be stimulated? To be inspired into creativity? To be acknowledged? To be healed? To find and feel inner peace? Or just to feel heard? Whatever your reason for joining in circle, we focus on addressing fears, making agreements, opening to understanding of each other as well as of ourselves, supporting each other in personal exploration and sharing, and practicing a safe, respectful and gradual opening to new ways of meeting that support the well-being of all involved. Basics. In a circle, everyone can see each other and feel equally welcome, supported and cared for. We share what we feel to share. That is personal and from the heart. We share how we feel in this moment. We share what is important to us individually, and we honour and celebrate our differences as well as what we have in common. If difficulties arise, then we work through these with care, consideration and respect for all. Main tasks. Our main task is to be present, to be true to ourselves as well as present with each other. When others are speaking, we give them our attention as well as be present to how you are feeling. You might also give attention to how your mind is behaving, an exercise in mindfulness and heartfulness. The main practice includes being true to yourself in this present moment, not in some ideas of the past or imagined future, but centred as best you are able in your heart and in your wholeness. Creating centre and sacred space. Meeting in a circle is a special time and place. By working within guidelines, it can become a sacred space as well. We begin by relaxing and establishing a centre. This can be represented by a cushion in the middle of the circle or a small table with a candle on it. Centre might also be established by guiding the group to go within, to invite each participant to acknowledge any mental busyness, emotional activity, as well as to connect with peace within. For each person to find centre in their heart as best as they are able. With a central space established, we are ready to begin. Agreements. An important part of circle is in having agreements in place. What we agree on establishes the structure that will support each of us, as well as the health of the circle itself. The facilitator will suggest how they think everyone's best interest will be served, and support a discussion about these as well. It takes a load off the facilitator if these agreements are understood and supported by all participants involved. In creating a clear structure, participants can feel safe to meet in greater personal truth. Some of the agreements might include being on time, being respectful to the organisers and fellow participants, listening when someone is speaking, not interrupting or giving unasked for advice, taking personal responsibility for your own well-being and trusting that everyone else is also responsible for their own learning and growth, etc. Options. Meeting in circle has many options. It can be facilitator-led or by sharing the leadership. The group can decide how focused or relaxed it would like to be. The circle may open itself to whatever presents in any given moment, or focus in on any particular issue. Meeting in circles is an ancient way of people meeting that has existed in many and varied cultures over time. How we run a modern circle is usually decided by a considered consensus. There is freedom within the structure as the circle finds out how best to serve its particular purpose. The circle can be anything from a gathering of friends to a corporate group looking for creative possibilities to a business aim. Basic structure. The basic structure includes going around one at a time, where each person gets to share what they feel and want to say. We often use a talking stick or talking piece for this. The talking stick allows each person to see who is speaking and allow them to do that without interruption. We can also go in any order, where the person who wishes to go next can pick up the talking stick once it has been put back in the centre. If someone else has the talking stick, then you are listening. When the talking stick comes to you, you can just sit with it for a while, or you can simply pass. You do not have to speak, but can just be present if that is what you prefer. We ask that each person keep anything shared by others with respect and confidentiality. What people share in circle is within the confines of that circle and never for gossip. We go around the circle until everyone has had the opportunity to have a go. you are invited on the first go-round to be brief. For example, perhaps everyone has up to 1 minute to just say something of how you are feeling about being present today. You might also like to say what you hope to get from attending, or what you would like to talk about later when the circle is more fully underway. There will be plenty of time during the session for you to say what you need to say. It is somewhat inevitable that you will also be inspired by what others share as well. Heart of Counsel. The best guidelines I have found for how to meet in circle come from the book The Way of Counsel by Jack Zimmerman and Virginia Coyle. Zimmerman and Coyle suggest to share from your heart, to listen from your heart, to be spontaneous, and to be brief. Keeping these principles in mind will help create a wonderful circle experience for all. Notes for a facilitator. For around 7 years, I developed and facilitated men's support circles, and the following ideas come from doing that. Working in the role of facilitator, I often felt inner guidance in creating different ways to support all. I was also helped greatly by my partner, who shared many ideas on how to bring love into this group work. The following are some possible focal points. Create a sacred space. Encourage participants to be active members of the circle's functioning to the best of its potential. This requires giving attention to being supportive of the structure, which includes being timely. If this is too difficult for some, then just lock the doors at starting time. It is important that participants can relax and know that they will not be unnecessarily interrupted. We form the circle so that we can open up within the sanctuary of the circle work. Honour the opportunity. Arrive, settle in, and go within. Be present to what you are feeling and what you hope to experience by attending the session. Be clear on how best you might participate in the circle. Enjoy silence. Sitting in silence, sense what you feel. When the talking stick comes to you, until you feel you have something to say, then just remain in silence. Give yourself time to be. Speak only when you feel there is something within you that you wish to share. Be truly present to the best of your ability. Allow yourself to be in this present moment. Set an intention. Set your highest intention. What might this be for you? To open your mind, to open your heart, to be present in your true self, to accept and celebrate being on an adventure into the unknown, see if you can open to experiencing sacred space and to oneness with all. Be in this present moment and be in your truth. Allow wholeness. Wholeness includes all of who you are. The lower aspects of being human, such as your unconscious shadow nature, as well as inviting in your higher states of being, beyond the restrictions of the ego mind. How well can you accept and integrate all of you? How well can you allow your truth and lift yourself to be the very best you are capable of? It is okay to be who you are in circle. You are most welcome to find out who you are and how you wish to be. Trust. Being in circle involves developing trust, as well as trusting in the unfolding. Are you willing to feel vulnerable at times as you open to the truth of who you are and who we are together? Shifting focus. There is an invitation in circle to go beyond ego-centered consciousness, to begin to shift from one's lower mind to welcoming more of the heart and one's higher nature. To be aware of how the lower mind can distract us or dissuade us from what is in our heart. To practice listening from your heart and sharing from your heart, participating in wholeness and greater truth. We see how well we can allow the ego to surrender holding central space and give over more to spirit. We see how well we can allow ego mind to become servant to the good of all. Respect. Some like to go deep, while others feel safe and not having to go too far beyond where they are used to being comfortable. We need to respect that each person has different needs and different wants from being part of Circle. Circle asks that we respect and honour our fellow participants. As M. Scott Peck wrote in his book, The Different Drum, quote, "Community is a safe place precisely because no one is attempting to heal or convert you. You are free to be you." End of quote. Yin and Yang. When we have focused for a while, we take a break. Something I learnt from my dear partner as we discussed the nuances of circle work over many years. The break is just as important as the focused time. In the break, you get to let go and just relax. You also get to experience circle within a larger context, meeting others in different ways, while in the altered state of having met in truth. The break is an opportunity to just be yourself in a different way than attentive and focused. In the break, you can just be. So, if you are considering taking on a leadership role in circles, in my experience, I found the role to include overseeing, guiding, and protecting. To be attentive, to create a safe and supportive space that serves the well-being of all. To be clear and strong and flexible. To be well prepared and, in the moment, creative. To be courageous enough to say what you think, and humble enough to learn from everyone involved. To do your best to be present, sensitive, caring, and kind. And, in the middle of being focused, disciplined, and loving to the very best of your abilities, to remind participants to enjoy themselves and appreciate the rare opportunity of meeting in such a way. And overall, to celebrate the gift of being conscious and alive. Conclusion. So in conclusion, I truly believe that meeting in circles in the way of counsel can help individuals and humanity move towards greater inner peace. The circle supports and cares for everyone, for who they are, as each participant gets to explore and share what is in their heart. In the sharing, people get to find healing, understanding, and compassion for others as well as for themselves. The effects of this experience extends out to the participants' families and loved ones, as well as to the wider communities. I believe that this practice of support and caring can eventually assist humanity to find deeper comprehension, caring, and love for all life. What assists us to find personal peace may well lead us closer to the time when we will experience world peace. At least, this would be my hope. In closing, I wish you abundant blessings and great things to come. Namaste.